someone were to ask you, what is the single most positive contribution you've made to humanity, what would that be? It's a mouthful of questions, a lot to think about.
Yeah,
Self-interpretive. It can be family all the way up to global.
I hopefully for anybody, their kids are, long-term their legacy and the single most positive contribution that they've made to humanity. If I'm looking at, things other than my family that, I'm involved with, I'm a volunteer firefighter in Simpsonville. And, it's unusual to see, like a CEO who's also a volunteer firefighter.
Right.
A lot of our volunteers are firefighters with other districts, or there's any of a number of professions. But there's I think 2 of us that are CEOs of companies on the Simpsonville Fire Department, and it's extraordinarily fulfilling. It's also extraordinarily challenging. There's a huge problem with heroin in Kentucky. It's getting worse, and you see some of these tragic situations that you have to deal with because somebody got to a really bad place in their life.
Why firefighting? Is this something from childhood, like a dream, and you started out? Is it a family tradition? Seriously, it is unique, and I want to talk about it for a moment.
Well,
and since you brought it up, it's a good time.
What young boy doesn't like fire trucks?
True.
I had a friend who visited us in Simpsonville the other day, and we do a fish fry at our church, so they came out for our fish fry.
Yeah.
And while they were there, I said, well, I know your son wants to see the fire trucks. We'll go for a ride in the fire truck and let him put on a helmet, and because he knows me as Stacy from Dad's office, not Stacy the firefighter. So we went over, and he had a blast riding around on a fire truck. So I think every 3, 5, 10-year-old boy wants to be a firefighter.
Sure.
The cool thing for me is I started doing it when I was 18. I did it for a couple years in PRP. I moved away and on the East Coast in Delaware where we live, they didn't have volunteer. We didn't live in a volunteer district, so I stopped doing it, and then moved back here 8 years ago. And eventually through our church got connected with a number of people that were volunteers in Simpsonville.
Quickly, because I don't want to get too far off of the purpose of why we're here. Did you ever find yourself in a harrowing situation in a fire and go, what have I done? I mean, have you had those?
I found myself in a harrowing situation in the middle of a lake.
Really? Lake, water?
Yeah. So you think
a boat, I'm guessing, is on fire?
No, it was a drowning where somebody had been, but he didn't drown. But he was sucked into a tube, and we were trying to rescue him, and it was a harrowing situation. It was the kind of thing that
I'm getting goosebumps hearing it.
When I was, I was in the water for about 45 minutes. My partner ended up getting his foot trapped in this tube as well.
So it was sucking water through the tube, and there's a human down in there.
It was sucking water through the tube, and our patient's leg was trapped. My partner's leg became trapped, and it was the most scared I've ever been on a fire scene. But I didn't realize how scared I was until we got out of the water, and my hands were shaking.
And the adrenaline starts to subside.
Because while you're there, you're like, okay, well, this just went poorly. How do we make it go not poorly? How do we get out of this?
Well, that shows your instincts, I think, also as a leader, and how you're able to think on the fly and in the moment, and not let your emotions get the better of you.
Well, I like to tell my team at the office that no matter how bad things are going at the office, it's not as stressful as what I do in my free time.
That is a good way to put it.